fair.
Hey, we're live!
Again!
Alright, second time.
Second time's a charm, perhaps.
That's, yeah, that's what my lower third says.
Yay! Okay, so we're gonna start with another question.
Should we go through the introductions one more time, since people will be joining us?
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so Adam, you can start.
Well, my name, again, is Adam. My YouTube channel is Junk Drawer Videos. My Twitter is Junk Drawer Video without the S, but you can find me with the S on it as well, because that's what my username is on Twitter. And I do videos about pro wrestling, news, or whatever else is on my mind at the time. And yeah, next.
I think it's me next. Hi, I'm Jenny again. I do YouTube type things. Took it home to Jen for Twitter, took it home to Jenny for YouTube, and Class Librarian for pretty much anything else. Next person.
Sean.
Oh, hi, I'm
That's
Sean.
you,
I'm
Sean.
pretty much here. I do not have a lower third because I have a T-shirt that has my name on it. And if you want to find me on the internet, well, first of all, you have been warned, and you can just look for my name, Sean Riaz, pretty much anywhere. And I will not be held responsible for what you may find.
My name's Christopher. You can find me on YouTube at Easy Chair Reviews, and you can also find me online at www.easychairreviews.com.
Where he writes smart things. My name's Tor, and I'm your hostess for the evening. I did a terrible job and screwed up the hangout the first time, so I'm sorry. But you didn't miss much other than trivia questions that I had the wrong answers to. So we'll just carry on with the night.
So, should we stick with the question we had left off at, which was... Oh, we've got someone else here. Someone's late to the party, but they're...
Oh, that's
The question is who it is.
Who could it be?
Is it going to be a dog-faced person again?
Drum roll!
No.
No,
Wait, what if it's one of us trying to get back in again?
Like our evil
a christening.
twin.
Yeah. I'm not a dog-faced person. Whoever it is not a dog-faced person.
Okay.
Who is it?
Come on.
So far, it's a
Come
movie
on.
club face person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least
All right.
part of the crew.
Not. Apparently their camera is not working. Whoever it is.
No camera, no
In
sound.
3, 2, some
Maybe
fraction.
Let's take
Let's
it to
play
is it
yes.
Alan?
Are we finally going to have George Clooney on?
Yes!
Oh my god!
George
Kiwi's
Clooney!
not here! Poor Kiwi! Yeah, Alan. Alan.
I could figure it out because you can just look at who saw the invite
Who's
on
on the
the...
post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alan does have a history of joining video calls with his camera not working.
Yeah.
Should we really be making wild accusations?
So, Alan, now would be a good time to turn your camera on.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
All right.
I'm still thinking it's George Clooney.
It definitely is George Clooney.
Hairy cousin.
Okay, so I guess we will get started on a question whilst Alan builds a face. So we were talking about movies from our childhood that make us joyful and happy, and we'd been talking about Home Alone.
Home Alone. Oh, yes. And the wonderful wonderfulness that is Tim Curry.
Yes, Tim Curry being a fabulous actor and having a grin. So, Chris, did you want to add in what movie from your childhood makes you exuberant?
Jeez, I mean, it's almost tough to narrow it down to just one. because you see, I mean, there's so many movies that become a part of your childhood, so it's weird to kind of solicit just one that is of particular interest. Maybe it's just a trite answer, but the movie that made me love movies was Star Wars. The original A New Hope. So that's the one I can watch over and over again, and just it's such a great film to begin with. So, and yeah, like I said, it's the one that made me fall in love with movies. So if there's one movie that makes me giddy, it's Star Wars.
Well, I think that's a perfectly acceptable answer.
It really
a lot
is.
of people really, yeah. Star Wars is movie magic. It really is. The amount of like special effects and like I think it blew all our minds the first time we saw it. Didn't matter if we were a kid when it came out or not.
But it blew my mind because it was so scary when I first caught it on TV. It was so scary. Like I couldn't watch anything. People might get in trouble with the swords. And what happens when what happens, and like all of those sort of things. Oh, it's anxiety. Watching as an adult, it's very fun.
I think I actually saw Spaceballs before I saw Star Wars, to be honest.
Oh my god, no.
I think I did.
This is a parody before the original. I mean, that
I think I definitely did as well.
I definitely didn't, because I didn't watch Spaceballs until they picked the movie up.
Dark Helmet is so much cooler than Darth Vader.
No, oh my god, no.
I don't know about that.
I mean, we do desert orders as well. Comb the desert. Oh, come on.
Yeah.
I would certainly prefer to fight Dark Helmet over Darth Vader any day.
Yeah.
You can use the Schwartz.
I think all of us would. We've got to use the sword.
Yeah. Although, I mean, the difference between Pizza the Hut and Jabba the Hutt, I think Pizza the Hutt's a little bit scarier.
Not want pizza again.
Right?
Like,
anything that makes me not want pizza is terrifying. Alan, did you want to chime in with an answer? Is your microphone working at the moment?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you have a specific movie from your childhood?
What? That mentally scarred me, or that I liked to watch too much?
That made you happy. No mental scarring yet.
I'd say Hook. Welcome to my glasses. That's really inappropriate. You can just see myself in my fucking. Anyway, hello.
That's 2 votes for Hook.
Adam did.
I'd say Hook. Hook always made me smile. But I also, when I was ill, I used to watch the Disney version of Peter Pan because that was an hour and a half that just zipped by. And then if you sat there with the delicacy, the British delicacy of a pot noodle, done. That was it. I was anyone's for a pot noodle when I was a kid. I'm so glad I went anywhere near Jimmy Savile. Are we live? Yes, we are. Hello.
We are this time.
This time.
Yeah. It was live last time. I vaguely saw what was left of it. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm tromping around in the snow, trying not to fall over like a fat walrus.
Have you actually got proper snow up in Yorkshire? Because
No.
my snow is not good.
No, well, see, we've got what's known as like knob cheese type snow. You know, the snow that doesn't even look pretty and it's not helpful, but it vaguely covers the top of the pavement, so it looks comfortable, and then you step on it and then you land on your face. So no, but it's not. See, I've been begging for some snow, Canada, for months on end, just enough to make a little Simon the Snowman, right? And now I went up to my best mate's house. You know, David. He's been on a few of my videos being a prick, right? But went up to my best mate's house, and he's got snow because he's higher up in Yorkshire. He's near the hills. And why is there an arrow above my head?
That's a good question. That's Jenny's screen.
It looks like Jenny is
Jenny, you're screen sharing.
I know I am. I'm showing you my snow. My amazing snow.
It was, and now it's like infinity.
Is it? Oh, according to me, it's pictures of snow. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's just pictures of us.
So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I strolled up
Can
to
you
my
guys
mate and
see
said he's
snow
got
now?
snow, but it's that snow that's ice, solid fucking ice. So it looks pretty, but it doesn't build a snowman. So, Canada, I blame you.
Take our snow. You can have it all. There is no such thing as good snow, Alan. I'm sorry.
I just want 2 small snowballs to make a fucking.
No, you don't. It's all terrible.
I haven't had decent snow up here for 2 years. It's just depressing. Now that I found a place that I'm okay with, you know, to live in, and I don't really have to go out much because, you know, I work from home. Hence why I've got the triple chin. See, that's not the camera angle that you're used to. You're used to the MySpace pose. Right? You'll be amazed. Right? This right now is touching the ceiling. I'm fucking joking. I'm not a hobbit. My name's Alan, not Kiwi. So, if you're watching, I love you, darling. Yeah, no. Back to the random point. Yeah, Hook for general kid stuff. That and Never-Ending Story, or Peter Pan when I was ill, because Peter Pan, a pot noodle, a giant packet of Quavers could, you know, fix any illness as a kid.
I picked Hook too, Alan, so we're on the same page.
See, I would review random films that I like, but you know that would only end up with people being complete knobs and flagging my videos. So that would be a bit shit. I've got the tags removed now.
Did you? So
yeah.
You're no longer sort of being punished for not really doing anything wrong.
No, I'm getting the odd twat flag the same video, right? And they're suggesting that it's the same kind of person, but they won't ban them.
That's not fun. But we're going to move on to our next topic of the evening. So, question number 3 is, what was the movie that, when you were younger, or even recently, really, that like really deeply scared you, genuinely a lot? Like, perhaps to the point of being afraid to sleep, or if you're me, being afraid to take a shower.
I was afraid of anything black and white.
Were you scared of tall zebras?
Of what?
Were you scared of zebras?
Zebras.
That is funny. No, but as a child, I don't know why, but I was terrified of black and white television. I was scared of, like...
I can understand that. But
yeah.
It used to kind of freak me out, too.
Yeah? I don't know why. I was scared
Adam, you
of it.
never watched the Wizard of Oz, right?
I've watched it since.
Yeah. Well, that would also explain why you got the answer wrong, according to Tor.
Yeah. The one where she just made up the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She got it wrong. She watched the black and white version and said it was silver.
Yeah, my bad.
Trying to think of was the last thing that truly freaked me out was probably Corpse Party, which is an anime. It's a horror anime that I watched for Anime Club, and so many regrets. And it's one of those ones where it's because anime is all inclusive, you can't when you're actually invested in the characters, you can't justify the goal with, oh, that's a visual effect, or you can tell that's animated on top of it. No, because it's all part of the same reality. Because it's all the same thing. So when the knife goes in and you see the skin buckle and the muscles tear, and you're like, It was one of the most disturbing things I've ever watched in my life, and it made me scared of scissors for about 2 days.
Graphic.
It was super duper graphic. Like, really, really freaking disturbing graphic child murder.
That's awful, and I'm glad I missed that.
Yes. I think you should be glad that you missed that. But yeah, that's the last thing that really, like, I think it gave me nightmares, but I don't think it actually made me scared to sleep, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Because I think the last time I was scared to sleep or go outside was when I read, it was a horror book, like one of the classic horror books where it had like it was really, really, really well written, and so then I could not leave my bedroom. I was actually in my bedroom like, but what if there's a demon woman outside?
Oh man, I read one of those books when I was in like grade 4, and the story was only about 12 pages long. It was just so eerie. It was called The Yellow Room, and I've since had nightmares where I'm in a yellow room and I'm like so scared, and it's still scary to me to this day. And it was just like about this mentally ill woman in a yellow room, and it's like sometimes a book can be way more terrifying than a movie because it's all in your head.
I'm trying to remember the name of the story. I think it was one of those classic stories that I really shouldn't know the title of, but it was like the curse of something, and it was about this guy visiting his friend who lived in a castle in the middle of a swamp, and then like it really builds up the story where the guy's like sat in the library reading a book about like the knight went past in clanking armor, and he hears this clanking noise, and it's this really creepy house, and the guy that he's staying with, his sister just died, and he hears the clanking noises, and he hears like the demon scratch the thing, and he hears this, and it made me scared to go outside of my room. I didn't pee that night. I just got that on the internet.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm going red. I'm just gonna do this for a bit.
Well, the last movie that scared the crap out of me was Insidious, and I hate all horror movies. Like Supernatural is too scary for me to watch, but for whatever reason I decided that I'm gonna go to theaters and see Insidious. And the main bad guy at the end of the movie did not scare me at all. It was all like the ghostly apparitions that appeared beforehand. Like there's a scene when the woman is standing in her bedroom after they've just moved into a new house to get away from their haunting or something. And there's just a guy pacing back and forth outside her window. And then all of a sudden he walks off like out of frame and then paces by again, and all of a sudden he's inside the house. And like seriously, even just talking about it is just like I can just feel my heart beating faster. Like it's so terrifying to me. Just that there's just no physical laws preventing them from doing something. They're just there. They can get in anywhere. Like it's friggin' terrifying. And the thermostat just clicked and it scared the crap out of me. So obviously I get scared really easily.
I've never. When I was younger, I went out my way to try and find something that would scare me. That's why I was a big 80s horror film fan. I think I desensitized myself to it fairly well, but the only time I can remember something freaking me out is fairly weird and fairly tame in comparison to, you know, I've by the time I got to this age, I'd seen The Exorcist, I'd seen The Last House on the Left, the original. I'd seen I Spit on Your Grave, I saw Cannibal Holocaust.
How old were you when you saw these?
12-ish. I just, you know.
In your grave when you were 12?
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
There's many things wrong with me. But I think I desensitized myself to it. But the only time I truly freaked out was I have stroke had a rather huge Neve Campbell fetish. And she's in The Craft, where the general concept, if you've not seen The Craft, is one pretty lass and 3 other pretty lasses, like are in a. This is a really bad short sale description. One last transfers to a different place, gets a new house, goes to a new school, tries to settle into a new school, finds 3 girls that seem to be a little bit witchy. That's the best description. And then they try to recruit her as the 4th within a coven. But right at the end, right, not to ruin it, if you've not seen it, well, fuck you. The three other girls try to go and kill this new girl, which is the good one. But in the process, she's in a house surrounded by imaginary things, like loads of snakes, and supposedly she's been forced to cut her own wrist and bleed to death, right? Normally, that wouldn't bother me. I fell asleep halfway through watching it for the 20 billionth time because Neve Campbell's worth wank banking, and I wake up in the middle of the night and the DVD for people that are watching that may be under the age of 20 are little discs that are like DVDs or Blu-ray but didn't hold much. But anyway, the DVD resets itself to the start of the menu and it plays that music over and over again until you press play, right? I'm stuck in my head, tripping the fuck out, thinking I'm bleeding, surrounded by snakes, whilst the DVD player's taunting me, and the only way I can get away from it is to get out of my bedroom, past the snakes that I can see but aren't there, to go for a wee. I'm like, what the fuck? By the time I got back to my bedroom, right, and turned off the DVD, I'm still checking under the pillow for snakes that I know aren't there. Because my brain's saying it's not real, but the rest of my brain's like, you're fucking bleeding, and you're a girl. It's like, what the fuck? So, and that's just, you know, it's not that the craft is nothing. It's just a girly chick flick thing where if you pause it right, you can see Neve Campbell's boobs. So basically, within that little tale, we found out that Alan watched horror films at the age of 12, and that Jenny will quite happily go, what the fuck's wrong with you? It's wonderful!
Well, I feel like watching I believe it's one of the most graphic rape and revenge films of all time when you were 12 is something to be alarmed at in some way.
Yeah, but, you know, see, this is possibly why I'm me, right? Because just raised by horror films, it's wonderful.
I was raised on Jane Austen and Joss Whedon, so yay!
See, maybe I should read some Jane Austen because that sounds horrific. You know, that and the sense of whatability thingy. You know,
as long as you don't start with Sense and Sensibility and sea monsters and Pride and Prejudice and zombies, it should be pretty tame.
Yeah, but that Darcy bloke sounds like a right serial killer.
Okay. Anyways, does anybody else have a movie that scared them then or now?
I think for me, the first one that really kind of scared me was Gremlins, because I watched that like right after it came out, and I was still very, very young. So, and it's I think, you know, they were expecting it to be a movie about cute little furry things, and suddenly it's about, you know, these reptilian bastards that are killing everyone. So
yeah, the
that
movie is
really,
real dark for kids.
Yeah, that one really did scare me. I don't know about recently though. I remember when I watched 8mm. I don't know if you guys ever saw that one. Not one of Nicolas Cage's great ones, but you know, not scary, but that one kind of gets into your mind if you let it, because it's all about this. Nick Cage plays this private investigator who gets hired to see if this video, this 8mm video of this girl getting killed in a pornographic kind of style. I mean, it was a snuff film, and this lady finds it in her dead husband's belongings, and she wants to know if it's real. So she hires Nicolas Cage to go out and find if this video was actually real. so he gets into this, underground porn scene, and it tears you up a little bit if you let it. So, not scary, but kind of creepy.
Yeah. Sean, did you have one you wanted to talk about?
Oh boy. Okay, first of all, I have to give Alan some kudos there for referencing The Craft. Awesome movie. If you haven't seen it and you want a brief description without any spoilers, it's a cross between Mean Girls and Charmed.
Yeah. That would have been a better way to describe it.
I'll keep leading up to it, I'm sure. And also,
considering I've not seen Mean Girls or Charmed, but yeah.
The theme song for Charmed, by the way, was originally on the soundtracks for The Craft, so they stole that too. And yes, the Craft was actually way more awesome than Charmed, mostly because Neve Campbell was in it. Yes, Neve Campbell. Now, I agree with Insidious being creepy as heck. I mean, just something about those ghosts, especially the old lady.
Oh God, no! Don't even.
Yeah,
next to a window.
Yeah, I was kind of afraid to get up for a glass of water in the night. At some point after seeing that film, because I kept thinking, wait a minute, is there an old lady in a wedding dress going to just pop up around the corner? I'm sorry, Tor. When I was much younger, I didn't see it originally when it came out, of course, but when they did the adaptation of Stephen King's It, and we had the fabulous Tim Curry as Pennywise the Clown, that scared me. That genuinely scared me. First of all, that grin. And then seeing him as that clown, and clowns are scary to begin with, and he did it so well, especially the creepy lines he pulled up, like, "Hey, fat boy, don't you want it? Don't you want it?" I mean, scared the heck out of me. More recently, though, there was a Japanese film called Audition. I don't know how many of you have seen
Super
it.
creepy.
Yeah, it is. There are no monsters in it. There are no ghosts, but it's more of a horror thriller, and it messes with your head. It really does. It's so disturbing. It makes you question trusting anyone you haven't met before. That's it in a nutshell. Doesn't matter how nice they seem. And of course, Japanese filmmaking being what it is, the cinematography, the pacing, the music, everything about it, it chills you.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I will recommend it because it is very disturbing, but it is an excellent film.
Yeah, the thing with Japanese films in general that's really interesting is that it's very long build-up. They take a long time to kind of set things up. So you get this very slow, and then it climaxes really quickly. So yeah, and that's especially with like the Audition, because you're watching this thing progress for a long, long time, and then all of a sudden it snaps and changes, and it's something kind of brutal and different. So yeah, that's a good one.
You never look at gloves the same way, or, well, piano wires. You never look at them the same way again. And you may not want to go to the doctor's office to get a booster shot for a very long time.
So basically, don't watch that movie.
It is beautifully done.
Especially if you're like meal tour. If you're meal tour, don't watch that movie.
Yeah.
The thing about Corpse Party was like it has ridiculous gore in the second. I think it's like a 3-part series. In the second 2 episodes, it's all gore, but in the first one, it's all build up. And there's one point when, because anime is still images, they can do jump scares so freaking well because they don't have to move anything to have something there that wasn't there a minute ago. And there is just this little girl in a red dress holding a pair of bloody scissors, and she appears out of nowhere. And it is the scariest freaking thing. I literally went,
Has anybody seen those YouTube videos where they like rigged up an elevator to stop and the light shut up for a second?
Yeah.
And there's like a panel that moves, and then a little girl gets in wearing a dress and just like with her hair down.
Yeah.
And then like screams at them.
I don't know, man. That would probably get violent if I was in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't get away with that if you're like I'm 5'10" and I'm 300 pounds, right? If on camera, right, whether it's a prank or not, 1 minute I'm in the lift, then it goes dark, then there's a girl screaming at me that scares the shit out of me. You can't punch her. You can't. You can't, right? Because one,
No, you don't want to punch. You want to kick.
then fine. Two,
She's short enough.
not, and you're on a fucking show, you've just knocked out a 12-year-old. And
That's-
the kind of weight you put behind that, she's just going to go back through the paddle. It's just...
I'm sorry, but it, like, yeah. I'll kick a ghost right in the face.
Who are we going to call? Tor. Just kick it in the face. Who needs a gun? Just...
Fight or flight, man. Can't get out of the elevator, you gotta fight.
Yeah, but your immediate response was kick it in the face.
Yes! We're not gonna reason. Like, oh, hello, screaming little ghostly child. What would you like?
But that could just be a really ugly, screaming little kid that you just booted in the head.
Well,
Do you have aspirations of joining the New York Rockettes at some point in time? Because why don't you kick everyone?
What? They just kick people? That's what they do?
Well, apparently your aspirations suggest such.
Well, yeah. Oh my god. Alright, before it becomes apparent that I'm a horrible person, we should move on to our next emotion, which is sadness. Now that we've talked about being happy and scared, we're going to talk about what movies made us cry like little babies. And I'll start with Charlotte's Web when I was a kid.
Oh.
I would incessantly insist that we rent it from the library and I'd get to watch it, but every single time I cried when Charlotte died.
I have not seen Charlotte's Web. I am sorry.
Tor, you spoiled it.
It's like a freaking 100-year-old story.
Yeah.
I know. I don't mind being spoiled. I prefer to be spoiled if it's sad. Marley and me, the dog dies.
Pardon?
Marley and me, the dog dies.
Oh, yeah, that would have been a second one. I don't think I cried when I watched that, though. I think I went into it knowing that I was going to, and I was like, I'm not going to do it.
I was just preemptively spoiling along the same lines.
Oh, okay.
I haven't actually seen it. I don't know whether or not it's sad. I assume it's sad, because the dog dies.
Yeah. See, none of the guys want to say what movies made them cry.
No,
Well,
that's
the
why I
boys
haven't
jump
watched
in.
Marley and Me, because that would probably do it. Because any movie where the dog dies at the end is one that's going to get me. You know,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I can't think of any... Oh, no, that's a lie. I can think of a film that actively made me cry from every orifice, and that was Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. That was about as powerful as Ebola. That was wonderful. But no, in all honesty, one. Sorry for the juddery camera. You're on my lap. Hey, baby. One of the most emotional films I must remember was Homeward Bound.
Yes!
Because I remember watching it as a kid, and it holds very dear memories to me, because basically, long and short of it, we used to have some really close family friends that we used to hang out with, and unfortunately, I'm now 300 miles away. I don't get to see them, and my dad died 12 years ago or so. So the memory back then was perfect. But we used to sit there and watch movies together, all of us as kids, and there was like 7 of us in a room, right? But yeah, you know, two dogs and a cat, a very sarcastic cat strolling around. And then, you know, sassy,
Chance and Shadow.
the sassy cat. And then, yeah, coming back, and because there's 2 versions of them. One's the Incredible Journey, which is the remake, and one which is Homeward Bound, or vice versa. I was going to do them in a movie clubby thingy, but yeah. Still though, that and a similar echo, a more recent film, 8 Below, which is about 6 or 7 huskies trapped in somewhere. It goes out there, tries to do an expedition. Unfortunately, the weather's shit, and the film's about them trying to go back to get the dogs, but also the dogs' narrative on themselves, looking after themselves and looking after injured other huskies within that group. Similar vein, but that touched quite dear. I've never owned a dog.
Well, Homeward Bound, it's so sad at the end because, well, it's sad and then happy. Because it's just like Chance and Sassy get back, but Shadow fell into like a train car pit.
Yeah.
And the kid, like each pet had an owner, and the kid that was like the owner of Shadow was just like, I knew he couldn't make it. He's too old. And it's just like, no, he's coming, I promise.
It's interesting that so many people pick animal movies that are, you know, the source of sadness. Sticking with that, it's not a movie, but I think the saddest thing that I had seen in a lot of years was the Jurassic Park episode of Futurama. If any of you have seen that.
Oh, yeah.
Say what?
Price dog.
Have you seen that, Jenny?
No, I think I've watched about 10 episodes of Futurama in my life, and I only watched Jurassic Park when Harry Movie Club did it, so that was the first time I watched it, so I've got the feeling this one's not going to hit home for me.
Well,
it's an amazing piece of writing, yeah.
Yeah, it's called Jurassic Park, and to sum it up, I guess Fry, he travels to the future, I don't know, like 1,000 years in the future, and he wants to find out what happened to his dog, and the long and the short of it is his dog basically waited until he died for Fry to come back to him.
It's, as I said, it's you wouldn't expect that kind of writing from just a cartoon, let alone, you know, the brains of Simpsons. It's a very weirdly touching, like, cartoon. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Futurama had a couple of really good episodes. That was one of them. Godfellas, that was another good one. But yeah, the story about the dog, it was actually, I mean, you get a couple of different stories that are like that, and one movie that again brings out the feels was this one called Hachi, A Dog's Tale, which is based on a true story, but they Americanized it. The true story is actually from Japan, but it was about this dog who used to go meet his master when he got off the train to come home every day, and one day, you know, the guy had like a heart attack or something, but like every day for the rest of his life, the dog would go back to the train station and just wait there for his master to come. So they made a movie about it, and again they Americanized it, so it took place in America, not Japan. It wasn't a great movie. Richard Gere was in it, but yeah, it's still, that last half hour is tough to watch if you're a dog lover.
Yeah, very very similar to the Futurama episode.
I have a movie that actually has nothing to do with animals that made me regret ever watching it, which I believe was Grave of Fireflies. It's an anime. I don't know if anybody else has seen it.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it, and it's a Holocaust
Like-
anime.
So, like, emotionally exhausting to watch it. Like, it's really good, but if you want to feel happy for the rest of the day, don't do it.
See, I've not really watched much anime. I should really. It's one of those things that I've got anime on my Netflix and stuff like that. I've been meaning to watch like some or educate myself, but I don't know. I just really I don't get round to it. I just
Yeah. I think you either like it or you don't. But
well, I think it's more of a case if I've not actually given it a chance to know if I like it or not. It's just at the current moment I'm marathoning my way through House, and just I randomly pick things to binge watch. So maybe my next binge watch would be some anime.
Yeah, if you want anime that will make you cry, watch Magica Magica. It's my favorite anime of pretty much all time. And oh my god, did I cry like a baby while watching that. Also, Cat.
Cat! I refuse to make the obvious comment.
Okay, did anybody else have?
You best not.
Did anybody else have a movie they wanted to talk about that made them cry?
Well, I have two, which one of which is perfect because the cat in my life is called Eowyn, and one of them that always makes me cry is the first Lord of the Rings and the third Lord of the Rings. The middle one is just fun, but the first one and the last one make me bawl like a baby because they're amazing, and also I have associations with someone who's not here and living anymore, who used to love those films and used to watch them with her, and she's not with us anymore. And I also, the classic and the guilty pleasure crime movie is, of course, Titanic, which is the ultimate one. Oh, and Eowyn is running away. So yeah, Titanic, guaranteed cry every time. If I can put in the time to watch 3 hours worth of romance I don't really buy into.
Sean,
That
did
was
you
all I
have
was
one?
going to say.
Interesting that Jenny mentioned Titanic. How do I put this? I actually almost cried when I went to see Titanic because I couldn't believe I actually spent money to go see this movie.
That's awesome.
No, not that it's a bad movie. It's not a bad movie at all, but I can't believe I paid to spend 3 hours looking at this.
Hey, there's boobs in it. You know, count your blessings.
Barely. There is
Yeah,
barely
exactly. I mean,
boobs in it.
okay, other than that, movies that really, got to me. When I was little, I saw An American Tail.
Oh.
And you know the part that had to get me, where they had the song Somewhere Out There. That's the part that's always going to get me.
Yeah.
Yeah, not that it's the best animated film ever, because if you can really compare it to like 80s and 90s Disney stuff, you have to wonder, okay, really, they wanted to release this movie? Because it's definitely not, Lion King or Beauty and the Beast. But when you're a little kid and you have these cute little mice and they're immigrants and he's trying to find his grandpa, and I'm not going to give spoilers, I'm not going to say who dies or anything. Yes, Tor, I'm referencing you spoiling Charlotte's Web. It gets you, and it's a really nice song. I mean, how could you not? Actually, I can't even remember anything else about seeing it, at the time, other than, oh, it's a sad song and there are mice. Of course, Homeward Bound always gets you. That's a given. And you may notice that in those Homeward Bound movies, you don't have the crazy CGI making it look as though the animals are talking. They didn't.
No, yeah. It was back in the good old days when it was just, pair acting.
Yeah.
So you if you was to flip the camera, the poor fucking owner on the other side of that lens, right down on the floor, tempting it to come this way or go that way,
But I think that's a testament to storytelling. I mean,
Yeah.
you get drawn into it. You feel the emotion of the characters. You can
Well,
feel
they did that with, as I said,
the story.
eight
So,
Below.
Yeah.
Very much along the same lines.
Mhm.
It's insinuation of the plot that you then place, because they set up the characters. The humans explain the characteristics of the dogs, and then they disappear, and then the dogs interact very cleverly. It's the same dogs, ironically, that did Snow Dogs, I think it was, the comedy one with the guy that was, I can't remember his name, black dude. Anyway, but yeah, basically, you always find around a certain time that, especially if it's animal films, that they'll have a clump of animals or dogs or cats or whatever, and then in the next 3 to 5 years they'll make 2 or 3 films with that specific group of animals, and then they disappear. So you had Snow Dogs and 8 Below done by the same dogs because the animal actors. Same with the Doolittles and the monkey from Friends. He was everywhere.
I was going to mention Bart the bear.
Mm-hmm.
Bart was this 10-foot tall, 2,000-pound grizzly bear that appeared in everything for many, many years. He was in this movie with I think it was called The Edge, with Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin.
Oh, that was a really good movie, actually.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't realize that was the same bear.
He also played the bear in Legends of the Fall with Brad Pitt. Because a focal point, well, a symbolic focal point of that movie was the relationship between Brad and the bear, being part of the same soul, basically. How Brad Pitt ends up being a 10-foot tall grizzly, I'm not really sure if that was effectively told in the film.
So effectively Brave, but live action.
Yeah, well, you knew Brad Pitt was a badass long before Troy if he could take on Bart the bear in hand-to-hand combat. But yeah, but now you don't need that. You just have CGI. But you have to wonder, how effective is storytelling now? And again, how does it draw you in, and how do you get the feels anymore?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say the fact that Homeward Bound was picked by multiple people for a movie that made them really sad. Like, it takes good storytelling to be compelling enough to actually make you feel something for those characters, especially when they didn't have, like, the emotions or the ability to emote like a human. It was just the animals being, direction to act this way and people voicing over it. So I don't know, like, does that mean, like, it's, such a better movie than what we can do with CGI because they had to put more thought into it, better storytelling?
Well,
like,
you do find
it's definitely compelling.
Sorry, you do find a lot of creativity when you're, restricted by budgets, or when you have other constraints. You find that creativity to, okay, how do I tell a story? When you think about it, most of the supposed blockbusters from back in the day, before most of us were born, they didn't even cost $1 million, or maybe they cost $1 million. That's like the salary of any big-name actor for a single episode of a TV show now. You don't have the unlimited resources, so you have to make do with what you have, and it did very well.
You also find that people empathise a bit more. I mean, if you have to fill in that blank, you feel slightly more engaged with it, rather than being Michael Bay spoon-fed it like an infant. In which Michael Bay has one very, very small element of plot and 3 hours to explain it to you. And if you get lost, there'll be a few dozen explosions in the first 7 seconds anyway. So if you've got a narrator that can tell and guide and then help you fall in love with that, and I think it's instinctive in our nature to fall in love with animals. You can kind of empathise that could be your cat or your dog. Mm-hmm. The advantage there obviously was that we had them talking, because then they could explain their character, depending on the version. I mean, if you're looking at the Michael J. Fox version, then obviously you've got his boisterous bulldog element, and then the you can imagine Sassy being a stuck-up bitch, because that's, if you look at a fluffy cat, you imagine that they are a spoiled little bitch, right?
My cats certainly are. They are little bitches.
You know, you can imagine it, and the old guy being the old guard, and you kind of got, you immediately, yeah, you can see that personality could be that dog.
Well, there's a level of empathy you can get when you're watching well-directed animal characters or CGI characters that you can't necessarily get with human actors, because human actors, you have to literally put yourself into another body in order to empathize with them in a weird way. While if you're like looking at a cartoon character or a dog or something, you don't have any preconceived notions of how they perceive the world, so you can really get into them and like really understand them. Like, there's a reason whenever this conversation comes up with what film made you cry, a lot of my friends and colleagues will always bring up the end of Monsters, Inc. or Up, or a lot of just really great animated films, because they give you the feels, because you're more able to put yourself into those shells than you are to put yourself into a fully formed human who is acting for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to kind of dovetail on that one, I always get a little more emotionally invested in the animated version of The Hobbit that came out back in like 1977,
Yes.
and I did with
so
the entire 3 movies that just came out.
Well, I was disappointed in all 3 movies, so...
The old animated one was so good, and also genuinely terrifying when they had like the ring riders in it. Like, I used to have nightmares about those things. Because it was rotoscoped, wasn't it? It was rotoscoped over actors?
Yeah, they did. They used rotoscoping in the Lord of the Rings one. So, yeah, which was just a different kind of style. But yeah, I think you're right that, you know, when you've got that animation, you know, you kind of are more able to invest what you're thinking and what you're feeling, as opposed to when it's live action.
Well, compare the interpretation of Gollum in the animated as opposed to the live action. Gollum looked nothing like that. And, you know, in the animated version, that we know that Gollum looks like now. I mean, he was a giant frog, wasn't he?
I haven't seen the animated version, so I can't tell you.
Yeah, I mean, he did look more frog-like in the kind of the Hobbit version, the animated Hobbit version. So, but I don't know, there you saw less of Gollum, obviously, but there just that for me, that the one scene where in the animated version where, you know, Bilbo escapes from Gollum, he jumps over him, and you hear just Gollum yelling that he's going to hate Baggins forever. That one really, I mean, I feel more of the emotion in that scene than I do watching the live-action version. And even though Andy Serkis has done a great job with Gollum over the years, the animated version, for some reason, it made me feel it more than the live-action one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've not seen the animated version. I might go back and give it a go. Or if I have, I haven't seen it as an adult.
Yeah, I feel like I need to definitely watch it, but it's not on my direct to-do list at the moment.
I actually have seen the animated version. I really liked it as a kid. I haven't seen the newer ones, though.
And since we've apparently just shared a new film with some people, we'll move on to our next question, topic, which is, what movies do you really enjoy watching with somebody who's never seen it before? Like, it makes you sort of anticipate the movie more because you're so excited to see how this person's going to react to, say, a movie that you really love.
Well, I introduced one of my friends the entire Marvel movie universe. She hadn't watched any of them, and Avengers were coming out, and I was like, you need to watch this. So we started with Iron Man 1, and then we got a bit jumbled in the middle because I was trying to keep it to continuity, and she got a bit confused in the middle and watched like one of the ones. I think she watched like Iron Man 2 straight away, and then went back and had to rejiggle the timelines. But I made her watch all of it. I made all of the mini movies, and we went to see. I don't think we didn't see Avengers together, which is really, really depressing because I was in a different city at the time. But I think eventually we did watch it together, and it was like, and I was like literally watching her face during all of the jokes. Like I was waiting for the puny god line, and I was like, yes, yes. And my dad watched Guardians of the Galaxy over Christmas, and he actually laughed, and he stayed awake, which is two things I haven't seen him do while watching a movie in quite a while. So yeah, Marvel. Anything Marvel.
I like forcing people to watch Big Trouble in Little China, which we all watched for Movie Club, I think, because it's like so bad, but also probably the greatest movie that's ever been made. But then I have a bad habit of just starting to like say all the lines before they get said and spoiling things for people. But you probably don't want to watch movies with me if I've seen it before, because I'll ruin everything.
See, for me, interestingly enough, I guess fittingly enough, the movies that I like to share with people are ones that I've picked for Movie Club, like Pontypool and Memento, movies like that where it's like, I really want you to see this so I can find out what you think of it. Like, what do you think is the story? Like, what happened in Memento? Stuff like that.
Yeah. I like critically analysing it with people afterwards, like, what do you think happened? And like sometimes I like being the smartest person in the room because, you know, sometimes you just want to be the smartest person in the room. So I'm like, this is what I think. What do you think? And then
This is what I think, but it's
my
also
point. I think just sometimes I'm a bitch with movies.
Donnie Darko is another good one for that, to like try and get people to analyze it after the fact, especially if you've like read about it at all or like looked into it further than just watching the movie. But a lot of people find that movie really frustrating. I just find it really entertaining.
Speaking of Donnie Darko and Movie Club, the man that picked Donnie Darko himself has arrived right on cue.
Hey guys. No, I was fascinated by Donnie Darko, and just such a a lot of people call, what's the word they call it? Not ambitious, but like the derogatory of ambitious.
Pretentious?
Yeah, pretentious. Yeah, a lot of people have called it pretentious, but I mean, I don't know, it just is fun, but also kind of like a bad movie, but so bad it's kind of good type movie also. So, and I just remember watching it, and it's like, wait, so now he has something coming out of his chest leading him somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, because I'm not gonna get into it.
Oh,
but
right.
see, I like Donnie Darko. I don't think it's you know, trying too hard or anything like that. But the movie that by the same, I believe it's the same director, the same writer, that I feel like that is Southland Tales, if anyone has ever seen it, where it's like this big mystery and there's little clues and you can sort of tell that this does tie in with this and this is related and there's a half-second delay that plays in later on in the movie. But by the end of the movie, I've seen that movie so many times I have no idea what's going on in it. Like, I have some idea. That's not fair. I have some idea. There's little clues, but I don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, like, each time you watch it, I mean, you think you figure something out a little bit more, and then it's like you just get confused again afterwards. So it definitely has a very, like, open-ended, interpretive type point of view of things. I mean, like you, I don't want to go too much into detail or anything like that, but it's like, I mean, did that 2 hours actually happen? Did that 2 hours actually not happen?
It's interesting because the first couple times I watched it, I'm like, this is a really cool movie, but I don't know it was like I was like a 2-year-old child watching a movie again, like I couldn't follow the plot at all.
Yeah, Yeah, I know the theme for this is like heartstring pull type movies. Have we talked about like in terms of like tearjerker type movies yet, or?
Yeah, we talked about it, but you can come in with a point if you want.
Yeah, I mean for myself, I was thinking along the lines. I mean, as much as they disturb me, but at the same time, like. Movies like Blue Valentine that we watched for Sourcefed Nerd Movie Club and Once We Were Warriors. I mean, I love Kiwi, but Once We Were Warriors was really hard to watch and just get through. I mean, myself, I don't do domestic abuse well in movies, especially movies. I mean, I get the point where a movie is supposed to be like real and in your face at the same time, and it's like. I kind of watch movies to for the purpose of being in a fictional type of area, not to be reminded that people can be assholes to each other.
Yeah, you like the escapism of it.
Basically.
Once Were Warriors was a hard movie to watch. It really was. I still think about it and it upsets me sometimes.
Yeah. And see, I mean, as for let's see. I'm trying to think. There was something recent, something like recently that kind of got me a bit. Oh, the documentary we just watched. I Am Santa. Had even though it was a documentary, it had a few little kind of tear-jerking moments, and when you're like listening to about how the one of the Santa Clauses has the long-distance relationship with the other guy, and you kind of feel for that particular. That person, that kind of got to me, not to the point where I was bawling or anything like that, but that kind of felt like potentially tear-jerky.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is sad.
But I mean, Donnie Darko is definitely does the mindfuck thing pretty good.
It does, because what I like about it is when it starts at the beginning of the movie. It picks up where it ended at the end of the movie. That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
Did anybody else have a movie that they wanted to talk about that they love to show other people who haven't seen it before?
There are a couple I like to do that with. One is just Casablanca, because even though it's a classic, not a lot of people have actually seen it.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
I tried to watch it and fell asleep.
One, it's so good. I mean, it's almost what I like to think of an example of a perfect movie. The writing is excellent. The acting's excellent. It's one of my all-time favorites, and maybe that sounds a little cliche, but it's just such a good movie, and I like to introduce it to people because even though it is such a classic, a lot of people haven't watched it. So there's that one. Another would be like The Court Jester, which is another old film, and stars one of my old-time favorite comedians, a guy named Danny Kaye, and he's just so hilarious. And this came out in like the 60s, I think, maybe the 50s. I have to check the actual release date. But Danny Kaye is hilarious. He was a triple threat. He could do the drama, he could do the comedy, he could sing and dance, he could do it all. But he was notorious for patter songs, like kind of the Gilbert and Sullivan sort of stuff. But The Court Jester is just hilarious, and it's kind of like this hidden gem because, again, since it's so old, a lot of people haven't watched it, and it doesn't get a lot of airtime these days. It's so fun and it's so great. I just like to show it to people because I know nobody's seen it, but it's so entertaining. Plus, you get to see like a very young Angela Lansbury, which is kind of weird.
So is that going to be one of your movie picks coming up?
If it ever pops up on the Netflix streaming, maybe I'll recommend it. But it's hard to get a hold of.
I definitely think we were talking a little bit about this off air last week, but for me, I have to show people. I mean, if I ever run into someone, the animated film Flight of Dragons is a piece of my childhood. That I mean, it's like no one's ever heard of it, and so It's a great, such a great animated film, and one of the hidden secrets.
Did you have any, Sean, that you wanted to talk about?
Well, there were a few. Films that you'd love to share with someone for the first time. As Chris was mentioning, there are such things as perfect films, right? Which is why, of course, I had to mention Mean Girls, the greatest movie ever made. Mean Girls is one of those movies that, if someone's never seen it before, well, first of all, why do you even know this person? But if they haven't, it is just non-stop laughs and feels, really, when you think about it. It feels like a high school experience. Yes, there are hijinks and everything, but you feel it so much. And of course, Tina Fey wrote it, so you know it's perfect writing. That being said, Mean Girls, definitely. Another one of them that I love watching with someone for the first time, Fight Club.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one, Fight Club.
It's really, yes.
You can only experience Fight Club, you just can't talk about it.
First rule of Fight Club is you never talk about Fight Club. But really, how do you explain Fight Club to someone?
You don't. I managed to experience it almost spoiler-free. So close to being spoiler-free, I got spoiled the week before I watched it.
Apparently, Rosie O'Donnell spoiled it on her show. She gave the ending out like the week it came out.
Oh, that's terrible.
Fortunately, I wasn't watching Rosie O'Donnell.
I used to watch Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah.
Yeah, fortunately, I don't think Rosie O'Donnell's demographic was quite the same demographic that Fight Club was shooting for, so that might not have been.
Yeah.
I made the mistake of there are no spoilers, but there is of course a very important aspect of this film that is featured throughout the film and is a very, very important key point. In fact, the important key point. And I clicked on a video where that particular key point had been digitally removed from a certain scene, and I was like, no, why would you do this to myself?
Yeah.
I love that video, by the way, Jenny. It's so cool, but sorry that it spoiled you.
I know. It's such a cool video. But
I was gonna say the same thing. It seems like you have this history of having movies spoiled for you.
I actually got to enjoy Fight Club twice because I watched it once when I was probably about 10 years old, and it blew my mind, but I didn't really understand it. And then I didn't watch it again until it was about 19 or 20, and I completely forgot the whole plot twist. So when it happened again, it was just like, oh my god, how did I forget that?
Maybe it was too traumatizing for you, and you suppressed it.
You and Alan need to have we watched scary movies when we were very young club. The scariest movie I watched when I was 10 was Indiana Jones, and I was terrified.
Well, to be fair,
and I
my
wasn't
brother
allowed to watch
made
it
me
again
leave
because
the
of the
room at the really gory parts.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, the very last scene of Indiana Jones can be quite scary, and also Temple of Doom, when he's ripping the heart out.
It was the heart ripping. My God.
Yeah, I can see that being scary. That number one with the faces melting.
Yeah, I didn't see that for years. I didn't see that till I was about 15.
I was just thinking about movies that move people just out of sheer nostalgia, and all the Final Fantasy VII Advent Children popped into my brain. I just remember when everyone was all together again, I actually got tear jerky just over the complete fan servicey moments of that.
I don't think I watched that movie.
The Advent Children is really, something you need to see. It's amazing.
It's basically a sequel to the video game Final Fantasy VII.
Never played those games either.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Well, I'm not a gamer either. I'm not a gamer at all, but I can appreciate it. It's really well done. If
Well,
you were talking about
actually,
movies
like,
that I love sharing. Sorry? There you
go ahead, Sean. No.
Okay, movies that you love sharing for the first time, pick pretty much any 90s Disney movie.
Yeah.
And if you share that with someone for the first time, imagine just, okay, whether it's your significant other or friends or maybe somewhere down the road, your kids, imagine sharing Aladdin or The Lion King or Little Mermaid with them for the first time. There's just so much magic there. And even if you've seen them a million times, you probably think, oh god, do I have to see this again? Look at them when they're watching it. And you realize why it holds up, why you really love this film. Of course, I'm going to think about this way in the future if I ever have kids, but you know, I'm not even doing it up yet.
Okay. Well, I think that's pretty much good for tonight's hangout because we've been technically on air for about 2 hours, I think, not including our weird break and change to a new hangout. So I guess we'll go through and do outros now. Adam, if you want to start.
Sure. Also, I did want to quickly put in that E.T. legitimately made me cry as a child. That's the only movie. But yeah, my name's Adam. My YouTube channel is Junk Drawer Videos. My Twitter is also Junk Drawer Video or Junk Drawer Videos. I make videos about whatever happens to be on my mind at the time that I'm filming, and yeah.
Oh, it's me next. Okay, hi, I'm Jenny. My brain stopped working for a minute there. I do videos on YouTube at Took Home to Jenny, and I do Twitter on Took Home to Jen, and hang out on Twitch way too much. And I did have a film that I was going to say was The Ultimate Tearjerker, and I completely forgot. So, next person.
All right, Chris, do you want to go?
Oh, go ahead. Okay, again, I'm Christopher. You can find me at Easy Chair Reviews on YouTube or at www.easychairreviews.com where I blog about movies and stuff. I think Sean's going to be next.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Sean's always next. Well, good evening, boys and girls. This is the first time I've been on this show, and chances are it'll be the last, you know, if the viewers have something to say about it. Well, thank you for having me. It's been awesome hanging with you guys. And if you want to find me anywhere, I'm pretty easy to find. Just find Sean Riaz anywhere. And, well, do so at your own risk.
And I'm Backsorn. You can find me on most social medias and YouTube as Backsorn, whether it's Twitter or Snapchat. You can find me there. Sometimes I put up videos for Movie Club Strikes Back and Sorcerer Nerd Anime Club and whatever random poop I put up elsewhere. And sometimes I try to update the Movie Club Strikes Back page when I have 5 minutes. Thanks.
All right, and I'm Tor. I've been your host, even though I disastrously didn't list the video as live to begin with, but you can find the first half of this hangout already up on our channel, Movie Club Strikes Back, and this half will also be available for your viewing pleasure very shortly. So thanks, guys, for watching. Don't forget to check out our YouTube page and our Facebook group and our Twitter, and you can always follow along with us, do reviews, and check out everything else we do. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.